Testing, testing. One, two, three. Good evening. Good evening. We are testing sound. Can the people online hear us okay?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Thank you. We're gonna go ahead and get started. Good evening, scholars. Good evening. Good evening, scholars. Good evening. Hi, guys. So welcome to our official last cohort meeting of the semester, y'all. Can y'all believe it? Y'all excited? Yes. Like 3 weeks left. Yes, yes. Well, welcome. We are going to go ahead and get started. This is our last cohort meeting. Welcome to the Launchpad cohort meeting. It is a special one today because we have a special guest today who just happens to be a graduate of the University of Missouri, Kansas City, and who is going to share some amazing things that she is doing here in the Kansas City area. So I will let her introduce herself. Make sure you do check in at the QR code so that you can get your credit for today. Make sure you grab food because there is food out there. You guys know I do not like wasting food, so please take plenty with you. And without further ado, I am going to introduce or let our guest speaker introduce herself for today. Take it away, Miss Jonaie.
All right. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Can everybody hear me okay? All right, I love it. So I always love to get a good read of the room before I get started. So how many of us have ever had an idea for a business or we're going through something where we had a hard time, was like, man, I wish they had this that could have made us easier. Like from a show of hands and then online, if you're on Zoom, feel free to drop something in the chat as well. Like how many of us have felt like that or experienced that before? And that's essentially what entrepreneurship is. Entrepreneurs are the people who kind of had that idea or had that thought and actually pursued it and created a company around it to kind of solve the problem that they were experiencing at that time. So that kind of brings me into my introduction and who I am. My name is Jonaie Johnson, and I am the founder and CEO of a startup here locally called Interplay that I was able to found and start here at UMKC. I'm also currently in the MBA program. And I am a GA. So I wear a lot of different titles and hats, but the one I'm most prominently known for is being the founder and CEO of Interplay. And my founder story is something unique in terms of I was in your shoes and your age when I was able to get started. And I've been able to go on so far in terms of credibility and credentials to raise over $90,000 in non-dilutive funding for my company. We were selected as one of the top emerging startups here in Kansas City by Startling News. And I've also been featured in innovative, under 25 list by the Kansas City Business Journal. And how that all got started for me during my time here at UMKC. So I'm originally born and raised from the south side of Chicago, and I'm Chicago through and through. But what got me over here to UMKC was not only the block school, but along with the UMKC women's basketball team. So I was recruited here by the women's basketball team to play basketball, of course, but also when I first heard about it, my coach was telling me, it's a school in Kansas City. They really want you. Is that something that you're interested in? I'm like, Kansas City, Kansas, I'm not sure what's out there. Kansas, the first thing that came to my mind was like Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. I'm not sure if you all seen the movie, but I just had in my mind, this school is going to be in the middle of nowhere. It's going to be a lot of cornfields and such, and it might not be anything to do. But of course, once I got here, that was completely different. And my perception of Kansas City changed immensely. Not only once I was able to meet the coaching staff, but also what really drew me here was the ability to major in entrepreneurship at UMKC. Because during that time, it's a term that we hear so frequently now, and I'm not even that old. So I was able to see how popularized entrepreneurship has become. But during a time when I was a freshman and looking to major in it, not a lot of universities allowed you to major in entrepreneurship specifically as a major. They might have let you take like a couple of classes or have it as a minor, but have it as a major specifically tailored towards startups. That was something that was unique to me at UMKC and what brought me here from Chicago, from a Chi-Town girl to this town called Kansas City. Now, what brought me with the idea for Interplay was I was solving a problem. So what I mentioned in the beginning was, you found a pain point, something just throughout life that you experienced or something that you witnessed or just something that you might have had the craziest idea for. So while working my senior year on a capstone project in high school, I was thinking of something that I really to be really fun, innovative, and creative. And during that time, I thought about my aunt. My aunt, she was always leaving family events early, rushing home to care for her dog. And during my time, and as I was thinking about my aunt, I'm thinking, how could I make her life easier? And that's when I came up with the idea for Interplay. I'm like, it'd be really cool if she could care for her dog from her phone while away from home. So that's how this girl who's never been a dog parent or ever had a dog in her life has been 10 toes down in the heart of a dog company there. So throughout my time at UMKC, I was able to be acquainted with the eScholars program. And what the eScholars program did, they helped me take my idea essentially from just what it was an idea to a viable concept, and really be able to take it from something that I just had sketched up on a napkin to a live prototype by the end of my completion of the program. But I love to share the story about how I got acquainted to the eScholars program. And that was through basketball. So during basketball, they had their annual gala event where they bring donors and, a lot of the people around to kind of glamorize the athletes and give us a lot of attention. So throughout that time, my coaches entrusted me by sitting me at the table of Tom and Mary Block. So I was talking with Tom and Mary, and they were asking me, about what it is, what I was majoring in, and I was a freshman at the time. So I was already just very excited to even be in their presence. But the fact that they're actually talking to me, a freshman from the South Side of Chicago, I was just happy to even be in the room of the atmosphere. So while I was telling them about my idea and what brought me to Kansas City and kind of the earlier stages idea for Interplay, I mentioned Mary herself asked, are you going to the Entrepreneur of the Year Awards? So again, I'm a freshman. I'm not really familiar about what these awards are, but if Tom and Mary Block ask you something, typically the answer is going to be yes. So without any insight on what I was getting myself into, I immediately said, yes, I'm going to go to the Entrepreneur of the Year Awards. So I immediately got home. I pulled out my laptop, Google Entrepreneur of the Year Awards, UMKC. I had to find a way to become involved. And that way, fortunately for me, was a greeter. So I started off as a greeter, and I was walking people to their seats. So for me, I believe in staying ready so you don't have to get ready. So while I was a greeter, I knew it was an opportunity for me to get in front of a lot of people that I may not have had the opportunity to be in before. So underneath the sheet where I had a greeter, they gave us like a bulletin. And then underneath it, I had what I called was like a business plan at the time for Interplay. So as I was walking people to their seats, I was introduced to, I saw Jeff, and Jeff was somebody that I was acquainted with from the basketball team. And it was companies upstairs, actually here in the block school. It was companies upstairs pitching. Well, not pitching, but they had tables set up. And I was asking Jeff, how could I become a part of that? That seems like something I need to know about. They're like, oh, well, those are the eScholars teams. And once I find Ben, who was the managing director of the program at the time, I'll introduce you. So as fate would have it, Ben was walking past right as we were kind of wrapping up our conversation. And then Jeff immediately introduced me to Ben. Ben asked, do you have like a business plan or anything? And to his surprise, I had it right underneath the clipboard. So I was able to show him what I was working on and what I had in mind for Interplay. He encouraged me to apply to the eScholars program. And then from that point forward, I was able to I got accepted into the program, and I was able to get through the program twice. So post eScholars program, I was able to be accepted into, I was nominated and awarded the 2020 UMKC Entrepreneur of the Year Awards for my work through Interplay there, along with my entrepreneurial endeavors and support. And then I went on to graduate in 2021 with all kinds of honors, summa cum laude, like 5 times Dean's List, a lot of that. And a lot of that was credited to my experience with being able to mold my passions with my major. So I was excited to come to school, as weird as that may sound. I thoroughly enjoyed coming to class because I was able to get a lot out of the class and apply what I was learning from the class directly to something that I wanted to do within my life, which was my business and the company that I'm continuing working on now. So post-graduation, I went through the journey of most entrepreneurs and stories that they don't really share when you still have to work a job, but also working on a company full time, because bills still need to be paid, but you also are chasing essentially like a dream or what it is to bring your vision into fruition. So during that time, after graduation, I was able to land a product management internship at H&R Block. And then right after that, I was able to be a program manager at Launch Code. And throughout that entirety of the time, I continued working on Interplay. I was continuing to receive accolades, continue to be featured in certain articles, along with winning pitch competitions to continue to fund the company. And then that brings me to where I am today and where we're looking to go. So right now, I continue to work on Interplay. And Interplay, throughout my works on Interplay, I've been able to have an exceptional amount of success, but a lot of that started throughout the advantages I've been able to take from the resources throughout my workings and involvement with the university. For example, one of that was I was able to place first in the CEO Global Pitch Competition. And I'm currently a Ford Fund Fellow, and that's because of my connections and ties to still maintaining within the university. And a lot of them continue to send me opportunities that I can participate in that make me credible for the company. But throughout my time with Interplay, as I mentioned earlier, some of the most credible successes that I've been able to have is how much funding I've been able to raise to date, which is over $90,000 in non-dilutive equity. And that simply just means that I still have 100% equity in my company. I've also was able to go through a fellowship with Mars Pet Care by Royal Canin, where they flew me out to France to complete that fellowship. So I was able to gain connections there. I stand before you today as a Ford Fund Fellow, where 1 in 30 people were selected internationally to be a part of this fellowship with Interplay. And then also, most recently, I was just in Denver about 2 weeks ago, and I was one of the winners in the pitch competition at the WeBay Pitch Competition, which is one of the largest it's the largest women-owned business conference in the country. And all of that I've been able to do just by staying strong, staying connected to university, and just having a really strong understanding of what it is that I wanted to do at an early stage, which is why I encourage a lot of you, whether it's entrepreneurship or whatever it is that you want to do, find your passion early and be able to not only learn from it, but capitalize on the resources that you have here as university students that can help you reach that next level. So I'll wrap it up there. And I always say that I like to keep my stories short, sweet, and simple because it's still being written. I know I've accomplished a lot in a short amount of time, but it's a lot more to come. So what I envision for Interplay is us being the Apple of pet technology, and I'd love to share the video for what it is we have to date and where we're looking to go. Yep. All right. And with that, I also realized I never really mentioned what Interplay was and what it is that we do. But at Interplay, I have created a patent pending product that keeps pet parents and pets connected from their phone while they're away. So if any of you have a dog or know someone with a dog, with our product, they can dispense food and water, see and talk, and play music and sounds all remotely from their phone while away from home via the Interplay app. So we're in the pet innovation and pet technology space. So with that being said, thank you so much for having me, Whitney, and I want to open it up to any questions, if you all have any, to share.
Thank you.
I'm sorry?
I just said thank you.
Yeah, so I initially, really to start up, it was the 90,000 that I raised to get me to this point, but to kind of get the first early processes, I would say less than 5,000, about 2,000 to really like just get through the prototypes and everything. But a lot of that was because of my student status, which is why I'm so happy that I was able to start early, because I was able to get a lot of pro bono work done because they knew I was a student and I didn't have much to offer but an idea and a dream. So a lot of them were looking to support it because I was a student and I was tied to the university. So that it was kind of like a credible source there through the vetting. Love this question. So pitch competitions, there are pros and cons to the pitch competition. So the pro is that you can receive money, a decent amount of money to continue to grow your company. And then there's typically no equity size to it. So people won't take a percentage of your company in exchange to it, which can kind of complicate your cap table and stuff moving forward as you try to get stuff from investors, but I'll keep it as simple as possible. But the cons to it is you have to apply to the competitions. Then you have to make sure that your company meets the requirements to apply to the competition. Then just because you get accepted into the competition and you get to the competition and you're able to compete, that doesn't necessarily mean that you win. So you can go through that entire long application process, kind of make it to the competition and compete in the competition, necessarily win. I've been fortunate enough to where I've won quite a few, so it kind of energy worth it. But that's kind of how the process works for those pitch competitions. But depending on the competition itself, it's really like I would like to consider it like a March Madness. So you move forward. So once you get into the competition, you kind of are competing. So whatever bracket it is, whatever level you're competing at, you pitch, and then you might make it to the semifinals. Then if you make it to the semifinals, then you make it to the finals. Then from those finalists, you might have first, second, and third. And let's say for the most recent example from when I was in Denver, first place got 10,000, second place got 6,000, and third place got 3,000. And that's typically how those competitions go. It's like a real competition. So I did work with contractors. So I have a team of about 8 contractors, although I am a solo founder. So that's I've been very fortunate throughout my journey, but being able to surround myself with smarter people who are a lot smarter than me. So what I did fail to leave out was that I'm a non-technical founder working heavily on a tech product. So I had to go out my way to kind of shorten some of those technical skills gaps, which means I had to take like some quick classes or workshops or have you will that included like technical knowledge that informed me on like what the difference is between front end, back end, or some of those computer science terms. So I could go back to my developers and at least have an idea and know what they're talking about when they're building out the hardware and the software. But I have a contracted team of people that I'm working with to build out both the hardware and the software. So I've been more of an overseer as like a project manager, telling them what we need, and they go get it built and come back to me.
Great question.
I love this question because I always feel like entrepreneurship is not only who I am, but I feel like it was my calling in terms of what I wanted to do. Because growing up, I've always was entrepreneurial. So I started off, I had my fruit snack business where I was selling fruit snacks. I was selling friendship bracelets where most people were giving them out for free, but I felt like I had more of a premium friendship bracelet business. So why not sell it? And then I remember vividly in 8th grade, everybody was I was in the National Honor Society. So a lot of people were kind of talking about what they wanted to be. You had the lawyers and the doctors and the vets of the world. And I was telling them, I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And they're like, okay, that's great, but what business are you going to start? And although at the time I didn't know what business it was going to be, but I knew that was something that I really wanted to do. And it was going to be my own throughout it. Yes and no. So yes, I have worked with and contracted a marketing team to kind of help manage like the social media. No, I did not make that video, but I provided them with the product to make it, and also kind of like gave them approvals and letting them know like what I wanted it to look like. But I have had the opportunity to work with a marketing team, but marketing teams can be expensive. So sometimes I may post stuff on my own as well. So I won't necessarily have to include that in my contracted hours. I would say the best way to find viable contractors is throughout your involvement in the entrepreneurial community or ecosystem wherever you are. So whether it's here in Kansas City or whatever area you're in, there are a lot of different organizations and events that you can attend to continue to meet fellow entrepreneurs or just people in general who want to help out entrepreneurs. And I think throughout that, when it comes to talking about your business or what you need and looking for, just having those connections and networking within the local community, they can point you in the right direction. Because one thing about it is that entrepreneurs want to help entrepreneurs because we know what it's like to be in your shoes. So if it is anything that we can do to kind of help you out or get you to the next level, we'll point you in the right direction. So a lot of my contractors came from word of mouth or even just talking with professors or just using the university's resources in itself. That's how I was able to get in contact with a lot of my contractors. So a lot of great people kind of fell into my hands based on my networking connections and involvement in the entrepreneurial ecosystem. So I say, honestly, right now, the marketing has been unique. It hasn't been your traditional marketing in terms of SEO, SEM, and social media influencer and all of that marketing. I think a lot of people are familiarized with Interplay, one, throughout my involvement in the entrepreneurial ecosystem, going to these events, talking to people. And really what it is winning pitch competitions. That's been a marketing strategy that has helped me significantly because I've been able to have success on pitch competitions on a national platform outside of just Kansas City. So I've been able to pitch in front of like Afrotech audiences or the CEO global audience. These are people who coming from all over the country to kind of come to this conference or event. And from that, it's just been natural marketing and that is word of mouth, which is the most powerful form of marketing. So having people, one, talk about it when they hear me pitch at these events and they're going back to their areas talking about it. And then two, winning the event. So it's kind of free marketing there because I win the event. So then they're blowing it out to all of their platforms and such and kind of making it known there. So that's kind of been our form of marketing, how we've been able to get it out and what's been helpful.
I have a question.
Yes. Any more questions? In person, you're going to let the online audience outdo you?
I don't think this is working. Go ahead.
A lot of the pro bono service I received was through the university. Yep, and even kind of using cross sectors or other schools, if you will. Like when I needed marketing, they had Egghead at the time. I don't know if that's still a thing, but I was going over there trying to see if they can help me out with certain marketing things that I needed, whether it was like a poster created or website edits or whatever it is. I was using that, and then it was more, I didn't really have to pay for it or pay as much as what I would have had to like a marketing agency because it was tied to the university. Then I was a student, and then it's mutually beneficial because their students get the experience when it comes to like working on a project, and then my company gets the work done. I would say the best place is the university websites or Google, or even just simply ask, whether it's the people at Rainier Institute or just any business professors. You'll be surprised just asking and opening your mouth in terms of being more vocalized what you're looking for. People will point you in the right direction. And if they don't know, they'll probably help you out with somebody who does. Yes. Yeah, so for me, it's through market research. So one thing about it, then once you have the idea, the next thing is to conduct your market research, then use the research to help create your solution. So once I kind of I had the idea and I went looking like crate attachments or automated dog crates that allow you to interact with your dog while away. And I realized there wasn't anything popping up on Google. And I'm like, okay, there's really nothing out here on the market for it. And then the next question for me was, good to be true? Like, is it a reason why no one has built this? Is it too expensive? Is it something that has tried to be done, but it's like the wrong timing on the market? Or is it just people simply didn't think of the idea and it's a great opportunity? And fortunately for me, it was the latter, which is it's a great idea and people just didn't really think of it or identify that this is the niche market that people should be targeted towards. So once I conducted that market research, realized there was nothing there, then I was getting the validation through programming. But for me, the biggest validation was when I was able to exhibit at the Veterinary Innovation Summit, which I'm surrounded by a bunch of pet industry experts, vets, all the people in the pet industry. So I'm like, if I could have my product on display here and I'm getting credibility from like the Zoetis, the Purinas, and the Mars Pet Care of the world, then I know I'm really onto something. So once I was able to kind of do my own market research, kind of go through the programs to get that validation from like professors or people who are running the program, and then also my target customers. And then once I was able to actually get that validation and then take it a step further and exhibit and get further validation within the industry that I was going to be operating in, that's when I knew I was really onto something special.
I got time for one more question. I think I'm going to ask the last question unless somebody else has a burning question. Devon.
I love you asked this question, Devon. It's like you're a plant. Like I put you here to ask that because I talk all the time about it. I'm actually about to host an event in June on it, and I'm going to eventually write a book on it. But it's about the crossover of sports and entrepreneurship, and why a lot of athletes make phenomenal entrepreneurs, because you have a lot of overlapping skill sets that you develop as an athlete throughout your athletic journey that translates into what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur. And I'll touch on a few of the top 3 of those characteristics, which I've seen and I've experienced firsthand, which is 1, discipline, because with being an athlete or even with entrepreneurship, they talk about the hedonic treadmill, right? There's going to be a lot of highs and lows and you have to stay steady through it. So as an athlete, you're going to have a good game, you're going to have a bad game. You might drop 31 game and 2 or 5 the next game, but you still have to come back, practice, have a team put in the work. So that's the first. And then the second would be drive. You have to be driven. You have to be motivated. As you said, with a lot of the times in the earlier stages, if you don't do it, it won't get done. And if you're not the one pushing for your vision, no one will be able to see it. So it start off with discipline, drive. And then the third one that I would say would definitely be, I would say, resilience. So you're going to be hit with a lot of obstacles throughout your entire journey, whether it's no's from investors or you having to go back to pivot from your original idea to your current idea, which is something that I definitely have had to do. But just being able to take a no as a not yet and continue to reiterate that process and continue to grow and learn from those no's is definitely a mindset shift and something that I would say I've taken away from sports that's been able to translate into my success as an entrepreneur. So those 3 things, which would be discipline, drive, and then resilience.
Okay. So due to time, we're going to end our question and answer session. I do have one burning question though. So you are from the South Side of Chicago.
Yes, I am. South Side is the best side.
Are there plans to
Go back.
move back to Chicago or take the business to Chicago? Is that
Short answer, yes.
okay?
No, yes, definitely. Potentially, as we continue to scale, it is my goal to get back home and be able to pour into my own community where I grew up and be able to have interplay there. Everybody with dogs. Yes. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. I don't know where he went. I'll grab him. Thank you so much. Yes, that was exactly what I was looking for. Did you grab something to eat? I'll grab that is the QR code to her LinkedIn page too. So feel free to connect with her on LinkedIn. I'm sure she would love to connect with you. So yes, love it. Thank you, Jonaie.
Okay. Next thing on the to-do list is our icebreaker for the day. Can't tell, there's Legos everywhere around this room in the middle of this thing. So okay, well then, yeah, I think it was just that one we were having issues with.
Just double check. Test. Well, Might actually, yeah.
Don't be scared for a second.
Okay. Yeah, it might have been since they were on the same.
Oh, should be on. That's not too small.
I'll test. Real quick. Test.
Yay, okay,
There you go. That's you, Chin. Right?
okay. For people online, just know we're doing a little icebreaker right now. So just sit back, relax until that's over. And then we'll go over upcoming events after. Thanks. You have 5 minutes left. Okay, 5 minutes. All right, guys, time's up. Please bring your final sculptures up to the front row, please. All right, are there any more Lego sculptures that still need to be brought up to the front? Please do so.
If there's a story behind it, please tell me the story.
Okay, here you go.
If there is a story behind your creation, please feel free to come down to the mic and tell me your story. I would love to hear it. All right. All right, Alex and team.
There's someone walking up the stairs away from the person who's just trying to solve an argument. The end.
What's it called again?
The argument.
Okay.
Okay. You're stupid.
We said that. We need to talk about this.
Okay. I like it. All right. Okay. Who's next?
This is block exec. Yeah, that's it. This is block exec.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Who's next?
This is Leslie Romo or Jonaie Johnson accepting their Entrepreneur of the Year award.
I love it. Okay. Who's next?
Those are two, there's the Lego couples, and then like they've been dating for about a couple months and then ended up getting married. So that's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a spokesperson for this one? Block Launchpad School of God. And that's the shrine. Okay. Okay. You guys make this really hard. Okay. They all are great, guys. But I love visuals. I love when someone can come and recreate and tell a story. So I'm going to go with the theatrical theme that came with this. And I'm going to go with Alex and Company as the winner. Congratulations, guys. But they all were so good. You guys made it so hard. This is great. I love it. And you have stories behind them. I love it. Good job, guys.
Also, so you know, they're going to be put on display in the lounge, so you don't get them back. And I'm going to take pictures of them and post them on Instagram.
All right, let's get through some important stuff and let's get you guys out of here. Again, this is our last cohort of the semester. So it is a requirement. So if you are here, if you are online, check in, you get your credit to round out your spring cohort requirements. Here are some upcoming events that are coming up. If you still have some requirements that need to be met, we have 3 weeks left in the semester. So you do have time to make sure that your checklist is complete. Thank you, Trinity. Oh, we have one of two left of our socials this semester. So please join us next Thursday, April 25th. We are having an ice cream social. We have a catering high hopes that is coming in to give us wonderful 3 delicious ice creams that you guys will be able to choose from on next Thursday from 2 to 5 p.m. A social is required on your checklist. So if you do not have this checked off on your checklist, make sure you are in attendance next Thursday, April 25th. We will have yard games, we will have ice cream, and we'll probably have a little music out there for you too. So please come and enjoy, guys. Games night, the last social of the semester. Your cohort leaders are putting together a old school games night for you guys. Just kind of help you wind down, have fun, get ready for finals week. So please join us on May 1st. We will be here in this building, I believe in room 331, and we are having a games night. Of course, there will be food involved, as is food as always. I like to take care of you guys. So please come to your Games Night Social on May 1st from 4 to 6. Graduation brunch. Guys, we have 41 graduates that are graduating out of the Launchpad program. Let's give a round of applause. We will be celebrating 41 graduates, so I am super excited. And so we are going to celebrate in form of a graduation brunch that will be taking place on the 10th. So all of our graduates have been emailed important information that they need to know in regards to the graduation brunch, in regards to reservation, as well as in regards to some celebratory things that we are doing and that we are needing them to be a part of. So if you happen to be a graduate and you are here or online, please raise your hand. Yes. Graduates, please check your emails. Trinity needs some things from you. Please send them to her as soon as possible. Online graduates, please check your emails. Trinity needs some things from you. I am excited. We have all kinds of things planned for you. I have a nice special gifts that are being personally made for our graduates. So I'm excited. And we will celebrate our accomplishments as Launchpad Scholars for the entire time that you guys were here at UMKC. So come ready to celebrate. Graduation brunch is May 10th from 11 to 1. We have already set the dates for fall cohort meetings. So all of our returning Launchpad Scholars, and we will have a new class joining us fall of 2024. And just to give you guys a little inside scoop, I probably have about 70 applications and applicants that are most likely going to be joining us in the fall. And I have not closed the application yet. So we have a nice big class that is going to be starting with us fall 2024. So there will be new faces, but please mark your calendars if you would like, because we do have the dates set for our cohort meetings for the fall, September 12th, October 10th, and November 14th. That, I believe, guys, wraps up our information. I do want to reiterate really quickly, if there is a checklist item that happens to be a site to visit that you have not completed, I do want to reiterate and confirm that the site visit, you are able to attend a workshop in place of the site visit. Okay, I am not going to require you guys to do the site visit because we only have, I believe, one site visit left. They were posted fairly late this semester. And so because of that, I am going to approve that you guys can attend a workshop in place of the site visit. So if you do not have a site visit completed, attend a workshop that is remaining with Career Services, with Block Career Center, any workshop that is related to UMKC here at the campus or online. If it is a workshop, it will count in place of the site visit. Are there any questions? Questions going once? Questions online? All right, guys. Scan the QR code, get your credit for today, take more food, and I will see you guys soon. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
You're welcome.